Welcome back to 21 Grams, a space for the things we carry quietly and the weight that doesn't announce itself but still changes everything. Tonight we're talking about something subtle, something familiar, something most of us don't realize we're doing until time has already slipped by. And that's living on autopilot. If you've ever driven home and you can't remember the drive, if your days blur together like pages you don't remember reading, if your life looks full but somehow feels distant, this episode is for you. What does autopilot really feel like? Autopilot is answering, I'm good, when someone asks you how you're doing, even though you haven't checked in with yourself. It's eating dinner while scrolling, tasting nothing. It's laughing in conversations you're only half present for. It's hitting snooze, not because you're tired, but because waking up feels heavy. Autopilot is when life becomes background noise. You're there, but you're not in it. Let's think about your daily drive. At first, every turn matters. Every street sign is noticed. Every stoplight has your attention. But after enough repetition, your hands drive while your mind disappears. Turn on the radio, you fix your mirrors, you do something. That's being on autopilot. And somewhere along the way, we start doing the same thing in real life. Things like we stop noticing turns, we stop questioning directions, we just keep going. Because autopilot usually begins as protection. After a loss, after a heartbreak, after disappointment that never got closure. Think about it like this: autopilot is the emotional version of putting your soul on airplane mode. Autopilot, or better said, living in autopilot, is the emotional version of putting your soul on an airplane mode. Because feeling everything every day can feel like too much. So we fight that on autopilot. How do we do that? We do routines, we schedule, we distract, not because we don't care, but because caring, sometimes that hurts. But I want you to stay with this thought. Living on autopilot is the emotional version of putting your soul on airplane mode. Sit with it, write it, think about it. Doesn't have to be right now, but sit with that thought for a while. You ever notice how Sunday nights feel heavier than they should? Nothing is wrong, but something feels off. That's not laziness, okay? That's your inner soul realizing the week is about to start again, and you're not even excited to live in it. So that quiet dread, that's awareness knocking. Did you know that there's a cost of living on autopilot? Think about it like this: autopilot keeps you functional, but it steals your presence. You forget things like what excites you, what drains you, what version of you is still alive underneath responsibility. On autopilot, you wake up older, not wiser, just tired. But the scariest part is you don't even notice it's happening. You only notice it once you're already there. Somewhere along the way, I stopped hearing my own footsteps. Life just kept moving and I kept following, but I wasn't really there. Became a shadow of my own routines, present enough to function, absent enough to disappear. And maybe you felt like that too. That quiet ache of realizing you've been living days you don't remember, in a life you're not fully inside of. But listen, your soul is not gone, it's not lost, it's not broken, it's waiting patiently, right beneath all the noise. And the moment you pause, the moment you breathe, the moment you whisper, I'm still here, your life turns its head and recognizes you again. Because there's subtle signs when you're waking up, right? Waking up from autopilot doesn't feel dramatic. There's no fireworks, it's not a movie moment, it's quieter than all of that. It's noticing the taste of your coffee again. It's realizing you laughed, really laughed, for the first time in a while. It's catching yourself staring out a window longer than usual because something inside you finally slowed down enough to notice the sky. The moment you stop rushing, even just for a breath, those are the first cracks in the autopilot shell. Tiny openings where your real self starts leaking back in. So let's start noticing more things. Let's taste the coffee again. Let's look out the window again. Let's stop rushing things. Waking up doesn't mean quitting everything at tomorrow. It starts smaller. Pausing before you say yes. Because remember what we said earlier? Sometimes someone asks you, how are you? Your autopilot kicks in. I'm good. Sitting in silence without reaching for your phone is another way. Asking yourself honestly, what am I avoiding feeling? Because the truth is, on autopilot, you just go. Like I said a few moments ago, life goes on and you just follow. You become a shadow to yourself. Things come and go and you're just there. You're physically there during conversations that you're not mentally there for. We don't remember them. So, what am I avoiding feeling? That's how we should start turning off that autopilot. And remember that presence returns the same way it left, slowly, one moment at a time. So, what got you on autopilot? We don't know. I don't know what got me on autopilot. What I do know is the only way out is one moment at a time, realizing more things, being intentional with our words, being intentional with how we treat ourselves and others, being present, having the conversations, being present for them, noticing the street signs, looking out the window, tasting the coffee. Those are just small things we can do to get off of auto. So, you're living on autopilot, hear this. You didn't fail, you survived. You adapted in the only way you knew how. But check this out, survival is not the same as living. If you are surviving, doesn't mean you're living. So I'm going to say that again. You survived, you adapted in the only way you knew how. But survival is not the same as living. And you are allowed to come back to yourself. You are allowed to feel again, to notice again. You're allowed to want more again. Life isn't meant to be sprinted through like a checklist. It's meant to be slowed down, to be held, to linger with it. And maybe tonight is the first time in a long time that you slow down enough to hear your own breath. Maybe this is the first moment you felt the weight of your own existence. Maybe it's the first time you felt the weight of your own existence settle back into your chest, settling back into you. If so, stay here a little longer. Don't rush back into the noise. Let this moment stretch. Let it soften you. Let it remind you that you're still there, beneath the routine, beneath the responsibilities, beneath the version of you that learned how to disappear, how to be on autopilot. You're not lost. You're returning. And as you do, life will start to meet you halfway. Remind yourself that you're still there, beneath the routine, beneath the responsibilities, beneath the version of you that learned to disappear, the one that lives on autopilot. You're not lost, you're returning. And as you do, as you start turning off those autopilots, as you start being more intentional, being present, life is going to start to meet you halfway. This is 21 grams. Thank you for letting your soul catch up. And like always, I'll be here for the next conversation.